22nd, 2021. We're still under COVID. Welcome to our guests. Thank you very much. And I'd like to turn it over to Karen to administer the swearing in, please.
You want to go first, Mitch?
Sure.
Do you mind? Do you put your hand, would you swear on a Bible? Okay.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
that.
I'm gonna, you don't have to repeat after me, you can just say, I do.
Okay.
But I need to read that. Left hand on the Bible.
Left hand. You want to do that? Yeah.
Other way.
Okay.
I haven't done this very much.
You fail, go
So-
home.
Do you, Manish Natal, solemnly swear that you will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and the laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Planning Board, Historic Preservation Commission, and Board of Adjustment of the Town of Whittington?
I do.
Awesome. Welcome.
And picture. We'll take hold of it. 1, 2, 3. Smile.
All right.
Welcome. And do you want to hold the Bible? You want to be a picture? Anybody?
If they
You
jump
gotta
in.
get the family involved.
You want actually stand on, no, speaking. Stand on the side.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yep. Do you, Travis Manning, solemnly swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties as a member of the Planning Board, Historic Preservation Commission, and the Board of Adjustment of the Town of Whittington?
And go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
I should be in there.
Congratulations. Welcome to the planning board.
You'll love it.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting this year for all of us. We're going to be doing some other things too. The next item on the agenda is the election of chairman and the vice chairman of the planning board for the 2021 till March of 2022, I believe. It's a one-year thing. Do I hear a nomination for the chairman?
I nominate Walt. I second the nomination.
Okay, can I ask for a vote, please?
Well, I was gonna say I nominate Ed.
Okay,
I second.
okay. Then we need
Any
to-
other nominations?
Are there any other nominations? Thank you. Any?
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
So you take a vote on,
We'll take a vote
Walt first.
on me first. Okay. How many? 4.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
there you go.
Could we say that Ed is the
I
vice?
nominate him as vice chair.
Okay, yeah, I
So-
second that.
You did it a little too quick. So not everybody voted for Walt, right?
That's true.
So who voted for
I
Walt?
voted for Walt.
Everybody but me.
For
Okay.
and
And
Ed and Jen.
and nothing against Walt.
No, this is what we want the planning board to look like as a group.
All right.
Okay, for the position of vice chairman of the planning board for 2021.
I nominate Ed.
I second the
Just
motion.
a second. Okay, may I have a vote for Ed for vice president, and that's 6, and
Unanimous.
I don't get a vote. So vice president.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much. Okay, the approval of the minutes for February 27th, 2020. Everybody have a chance to read them? Are there any comments? I mean, anything that's missing in the comments? There were comments.
I have no additional comments.
Does anybody else may have a motion to approve the minutes for February 22nd, 2020?
This is it. Jen, motion to approve, all second.
It's been, may I have a vote for the approval of the minutes from February?
Yes.
And it's
Aye.
unanimous.
Aye.
Thank you. We do not have any old business, which is unusual. Now, for the new business, the first is the discussion and consideration of the Keller Minor subdivision at 3514 Forest Lawn Drive. And it's a parcel. And Lisa, would you?
Thank you, Chairman Hogan. Congratulations. The applicants are Richard and Jessica Keller. They're seeking minor subdivisions, 3514 Forest Lawn Drive. Property is a total of 5.12 acres and is zoned R60, which is a minimum 60,000 square foot lots. The resultant lots are 2.27 acres and 2.78 acres. Both lots meet the minimum lot size requirement, front, side, and rear yard setbacks, and are both at least 125 feet wide at the established front setback. The proposed minor subdivision is in general conformity with our town zoning and subdivision ordinance, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'm opening the floor for discussion.
Just out of curiosity, what's shown on the map here is a flood line. Is that the floodway or the flood 100-year?
That is
Floodplain?
the floodplain.
So it's a 100-year flood.
Yes. Yep. Yep, you can actually see the actual floodway north of the property. It's not on the property.
Okay, yeah.
It's over here by the funeral house, isn't it? Any other observations or questions?
Do they need to make a street or something to adjust for these two houses accessibility wise?
There's an existing right-of-way of Cedar Bend, is the cul-de-sac on the south side.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that cul-de-sac does not have to be paved all the way around either, because
Correct.
it's not. But
It's not, it just has to be dedicated public right-of-way,
Okay.
or private in this case. Yeah, you can see in the survey, they show where it's,
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Yeah. Steve? Manish? I'm good. Okay, we have a motion then to approve the Keller minor subdivision.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Okay, now comes the fun. When you're ready, Lisa.
all right, 1 second. Thank you, Chairman. CH Land Company LLC submitted a preliminary plat, construction plans of 35 lots on 49 acres. The total density of 0.7 units per acre. The conservation subdivision where 50% of the gross acreage is retained as conservation land. They have their 100-foot viewshed buffer, their 10-foot landscape buffer, and a 50-foot buffer around surrounding properties. Subdivision will be served by Union County Public Water and Sewer. They have an entrance off of Weddington Matthews Road with a stub to the Morris property to the north. NCDOT is requiring a left turn lane into the subdivision. This project was approved back in 2017, part of the public process. It's part of the sketch plan. They had their public involvement meetings back then. That sketch plan is grandfathered and vested. The preliminary plat, however, was approved in February of 2018. They have to file a final plat within 2 years. Otherwise, they have to go back through this process. The town has no significant changes in its ordinances, so this plan is exactly the same. We do have our erosion control authority now. So we are reviewing those erosion control plans internally through our town engineer. In our old our current ordinances, the preliminary plat is kind of considered the rezoning portion of the process. So I do have a land use plan consistency statement provided. And then staff does recommend approval of the sketch plan along with that land use plan drafted consistency statement that you guys can adopt. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if you don't mind, whoever's on Zoom this evening, if you'll introduce yourself.
Good evening, this is Brent Cowan. I was the original engineer for the project with JBH Development. And I've been retained by CH Land Company to renew all the permits and carry it over to finish it.
Thank you, Brent.
Lisa, I do have a question. Didn't we, last time planning board had this, ask them to put that stub in for a water hookup or the access? There was something to do with that piece of property next.
We asked, that stub was actually there. We asked for a sewer easement to the fire department.
Thank you.
Brent, is that easement still there?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll give everybody about 4 or 5 minutes to look and see from the paper if you got any more questions.
Yeah, there's no parcel on the handyman side. I saw there's a couple of houses right now. I don't see the map. Oh, on the lot 12 and 11, just behind that.
Yep, 1 second, let me zoom in. Sorry. All right, so lots 11 and 12.
Behind that.
Or you're asking if there's any lots
Awesome.
between there?
Yeah,
Existing house.
there are existing houses next to fire department. I don't see them in the map.
Probably that parcel, isn't it?
I think they would tear that down.
Is that the plan?
So they're closer to the
Yeah.
street.
Brent, is there an existing house kind of in that conservation land behind 11 and 12?
Yes, I believe that there is. And we would be removing that house.
They would have-
Remove it.
Yeah, if I'm reading this right, that's questionable.
And this is my consent.
I think it'd be great to have 2 entrances and exits rather than just one, if they needed to get in and out of there in a hurry. I think that's,
Yep, so usually anything over 15 lots, we ask for 2. There's, we can't access between lots in 11 and 12 because it's too close to that intersection. And it would be unsafe to have an access point near that signal. So we had them stub to this property for future developments of Morse property on the other side of the water tower. So if anything develops over here, they'd be required to connect through to get up to Hemby Road.
on Door Knock Drive.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right, okay, right, makes sense.
We didn't have anything here. We didn't put that in.
Right.
DOT would not allow an access that close to that intersection.
Right. Is that right?
Yep.
So I have 2 questions, concerns. My first concern, and I know Lisa, you mentioned something about in-house checking with the wetlands and what we have currently in our ordinance. When I look at the wet pond that, you know, living in Bromley and knowing how previous developers, that pond is just starting to where you can actually see the bottom now that construction's done. I'm really concerned about all of that runoff, and then it goes into the wet pond, and then it actually connects. I know behind there's a ravine,
Mhm.
and there's a pretty good amount of water, even with just regular rain, not in this development, that comes back through there and goes underneath the road, and it actually goes underneath a privately owned bridge.
Yep.
And then goes under the road, and then goes under 2 other privately owned bridges until it kicks out into Bromley Lake. So my concern is there ever been any, other than I know we've been told you can't manipulate the flow, you can't manipulate if you have a creek. Corps engineers are the ones that have to come out. Has there been any investigation on what that might do
Mhm.
at the bottom end of that, if they build up on the high ground?
I'll start, and then Brent, if you want to jump in and correct anything. But they have to actually study this whole basin. So anything that flows down into this area has to be studied. And they are collecting all of this rain runoff into this pond and releasing it at a pre-development rate.
Okay.
So it could help. I mean, right now you have everything running, naturally, not to a point, but you have everything naturally running into that stream bed, where this is more of a controlled runoff with a slower rate, a pre-development rate. And they had to study this whole watershed area.
They've
So
already studied, they've already done that?
they have.
Okay.
We may have to renew some approvals. And I don't know if we've done any like downstream flood studies. Brent, did you have to do anything to show anything downstream?
We did not. I would like to point out also that your ordinance is much more aggressive or conservative than most municipalities. We have to control every storm up to the 100-year storm. So the ponds we've designed are releasing water from this site at the rate of the existing 100-year flow rate coming off the site. So most municipalities only require you to do up to the 25. Weddington requires us to do the 50-year and the 100-year in addition to the 10 and the 25. So that's a little bit more protection to that stream and to the downstream properties.
But I'll have Bonnie kind of take a look at that
Okay.
release point.
And I guess if there's any ramifications if down the road, not assuming, but just knowing what has happened over the last 8 years, if this development happens and there is an issue, is there any liability that can be put back on them versus, I just know all the homeowners are dealing with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Dredging, I know ARHOA spent, $80,000 to dredge it. It's gonna have to be dredged again.
Yeah,
So just trying to kind of think ahead,
yeah,
so that doesn't happen.
yep. We do have maintenance plan and maintenance agreements on these ponds. So there's annual inspections by a third party that has to submit a report to us. But otherwise, the downstream property like legally has to accept the water. It just can't make an adverse, impact. So that's kind of between property owners to show that it is.
It probably shouldn't have been built the way it was. I don't live on a
Bromley
creek,
should
so
have.
I'm good.
Bromley
I don't
needs
live
its
on a
own
creek.
detention ponds.
I
Yeah.
agree with you on that thing. But the other thing that's changed since this one is you now have authority for erosion control. So we do have a lot more control.
Right. Than what it
If
was
there is.
before.
We should be getting some clean water.
Mhm.
And it does not, if it releases at 75 years instead of 100-year bond, then we have
Mhm.
something to be able
At
to
least
do
there's
that.
something.
It's something to
Right.
start with, and we worked pretty hard getting that, and Lisa did, I think you made 3 trips to Raleigh to
Yeah.
get that.
Mhm.
But Lisa has the authority to be
Yeah.
able to take care of issues like that.
Uh-huh. It goes like this, and then it goes under here, and then under the road.
The good news about this project also is this will be the last one that gets through without having to have a charrette to taking care of a lot of the other issues that you were addressing.
Right.
And this is the furthest point upstream from Brahma.
Right.
So anything else
Goes
flows
the
in
other way.
another direction.
Goes, well, and then obviously the corner of Henry on down, but,
And they had a study beyond their
Right,
limits.
right. My only other thought is there been any discussion on doing any turn lane off of Hemby Road onto Weddington Matthews to the right, and possibly even to the left? I find it interesting that Beulah Church has a right turn lane, no arrow, but at least a right turn lane. There's nothing to the left, and there's a right turn lane coming to go, or a left turn lane coming towards the town on Weddington Matthews. So has there been any discussion? Obviously, traffic is a huge concern for the town, and as the land continues to be developed, it's gonna continue to, it's almost this intersection needs to be addressed. I just know people who turn onto Weddington Matthews Road, especially if they're going to the schools, that intersection it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because some people are turning left and they don't know it, so then they turn left and
I
somebody
think
tries
that
to
was
go around
the other
them.
day,
And
yep.
I'm just wondering if it would be, a suggestion to think about doing something at that intersection if we approve this development.
So they
To move
it was not enough lots to even warrant a traffic impact analysis. DOT is making them do a left turn lane into the development, but they would not be required to do anything off-site.
Is it appropriate for us to even ask for the developer to consider designating additional right-of-way at that Hendy Road, Weddington Matthews Road intersection? Because, I mean, right now it's open space and he's putting his landscape up to his property line. Maybe we can ask the developer to pull that landscaping back, donate a little bit more right-of-way for future improvement, so DOT doesn't have to come back in and tear out landscaping that it's already put in if they're ever going to put a turn lane in or traffic circles that they love so much.
Is that something you all would consider as future right-of-way that DOT would just reserve it as future right-of-way? DOT would obviously.
Mark and Ray, before you answer that, let me just say out loud for everybody to hear and understand. Our plans are showing we have a 30-foot walking trail easement that is parallel to the right-of-way. It's not labeled on that sheet, Lisa, but if you were to go to, I think maybe the first site plan sheet, I'm going to drive there with you on my computer. Go to sheet 1.2. Do you have the full setup, or do you just have the site plan?
Have this one up. I'm sorry.
And that drawing does show a proposed 30-foot public walking trail, but that's along within the property boundaries and going south along Weddington Matthews Drive. What I was considering was along Hemby Road on that, where your property butts Hemby Road, for the possibility of a future right-hand turn lane off of Hemby onto Weddington Matthews Road.
Yes, and that's, I do understand that. We have a 30-foot on that corner, both Hemby and the southern leg of Weddington Matthews Road as it leaves the intersection. We are showing a proposed 30-foot easement that is offset from it's a walking trail easement that's offset from the public right-of-way. And the landscaping is all behind that. So there, as it stands today, there is no landscaping any closer than 30 feet to the public right-of-way. So, maybe that 30 foot is enough, be it a dedication of right-of-way or at a dedication of a walking trail easement.
Yeah, I mean, a lane is usually 9 feet.
If you're, this isn't the answer, it's just observation. If you're coming eastbound on Hemby approaching Matthews Way, at that intersection, it's like a lane and a half. It's wider than a normal laneway through there.
There might be enough right-of-way already.
I'm not saying it's an absolute or 100%, but there is some existing extra land there. Seems like.
Something you guys will take a look at?
Yeah, we would absolutely take a look at it. Our main goal in anything like that we're looking at is just to ensure that we don't end up creating additional changes to the engineering of the plans. But yeah, we would be happy to.
Thank you.
Is there any more issues?
I have a couple of questions. Since these plans are a little bit older, I was looking at some of the calculations and maybe, and is this still the right GPVs for the water and sewer or Union County Public Works? And just, I wanted to ask the applicant if they 100% for sure knew that they were grandfathered in, so to speak, with Union County Public Works, and they do have water and sewer availability allocation right now.
Did you hear that, Brent? Do you have your Union County Public Works allocation? I think you're on mute.
I think the number is right for the sewer at 190, even though you probably heard the Union County Commission talking about 300. The 6 Mile Creek Basin flows into Charlotte, and that it's around the wastewater treatment plant that the standards are developed, not around the political boundaries. So that drainage basin was given a number of 190 by the state. I will not comment on the whole methodology. With the rest of anything in 12 Mile, which would be the rest of Weddington, is actually 285 gallons, I believe is the number.
So if they're going to a different basin, they have capacity. Okay. And then I was just asking Lisa if any of the jurisdictions require a fence around the wet pond at this point.
I wasn't sure. Can you guys answer that? Or is a fence required around that wet pond?
No, fences are not required, and our plans do not show a fence around the wet pond.
What about a fountain to keep the mosquitoes down?
Or like an aerator?
I'm sorry.
You're saying, what about a fountain or some kind of aerator? Aerator.
Those are also not required. They are elective, and our plans do not show a fountain either, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think that they do.
Lisa, to follow up Travis's question, can we put a stipulation that the HOA didn't provide that thing? Can the HOA do that? It will be associated with this plot?
Well, usually the
Yes,
developer, yeah, go ahead.
But why to put a cost on that, should be the developer should come.
If the question was,
It's where it was maintained.
That's one thing, yeah.
Lisa, can you repeat that question?
They're asking if that's something that were you saying that that's something that the HOA could put in, or the
The HOA.
developer puts in and they maintain?
Yeah, something. Is there something that the HOA can be required that they could do part of, and then the HOA pick it up?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that require that it always have a maintained depth at least, and those wet ponds vary? Doesn't it have to have a certain,
Yeah.
like 3 feet, I don't know what it is, but it has to have an assumed depth to maintain the spray or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe it's something we can just recommend that they look at again. I'm not sure if it's
Okay, so
required.
We would put that in the wording that we sent to town council.
Yeah, something to, yep.
Travis, did you have some more questions?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I just was noticing the driveway that runs off of Hemby Road and goes all the way to the very back to this parcel, the Helms parcel. I know that parcel is currently for sale, but it looks like their driveway comes right through that Dornach Drive. Is that gonna happen whether they sell, or do they have plans on purchasing part of that parcel, or they have a right of way, or
Good question.
They'd have to have at least access to it.
I'm pretty sure it's a
Um,
right away right now.
There's only-
so the driveway is both a driveway to the Ricky Lee Helms site. And simultaneously, it's also a driveway to the cell phone tower. So we had to maintain that driveway and design around it. When door notch is completed, there will be a curb cut to allow trucks to go to the Altel Tower or to the Helms property. They can do either one. They can come off of Hemby and come down the long driveway down behind lots 12 through 20, or they can have access off of Door Notch. There'll be driveway cuts for both.
And Brent, if I'm not mistaken, that's simply an easement that benefits those two properties. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I have one question. So in 2017, when board met, they discussed some easements and some issues. And those must have been taken care of.
Addressed at the time.
There's no concern about that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And one more thing. I'm just ready. So just.
You're doing good.
Do they need to get an approval or buying from the parcels nearby or?
They don't. So we're the recommending body. Town council has the approval authority. As part of the sketch plan phase, they were required to do public involvement meetings where we notified the adjacent property owners. So that was all done back in 17. Yeah.
This is kind of an odd juxtaposition.
Okay.
Jim?
Okay.
Ed? Good. Steve? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we send this forward to town council, recommending approval for their next town council meeting, which is in
April.
2 weeks, I think.
So can you make recommendations?
I'm asking for a recommendation.
Asking for a recommendation. So if someone will say so moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Steve, second.
So we put in the, are we going to ask town council to ask for
No.
a fountain and maybe an exhibit showing
to do that
right away?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I should have done that first. Thank you.
So I make a motion, we recommend this project with two caveats that we asked for a water fountain in the wet pond and for the applicant to have an exhibit to show town council that there's enough right of way for a turn lane on Hindi Road to a right-hand turn lane to Matthews Weddington Road.
I second.
May I have a second?
I have one question on the town. My concern would be if the town council, we're just making a recommendation, but if the town council requires a fountain, that would be then a requirement that would run with the property and that the homeowners would be required to maintain that ad infinitum. And to me, that's more of a homeowner's preference in my mind as to whether or not they would want a fountain or not. Some communities like that look, some communities want a more natural look. And if we legislate that as part of this approval, we're telling them what the aesthetic of that pond will be.
Well, they can shut it down if they don't want it.
They'd be required to, that's my understanding. If it's put in a condition of the plat approval, they would have to maintain that.
It'll run with the plat.
They have, okay.
So I could see raising the concern to the council on water quality, but I would not want to stipulate a solution. And instead I would leave it to the developer to give comfort to the town council that they are going to deal with the water quality issues in that pond through either aeration or whatever, but have them address it.
So keep the condition with the note from board member Gosiki.
I mean, not to rock the boat as a new guy, but I disagree. I think there should be a fountain in it. I think especially close to Bromley residents and the amount of wetlands that's right there, there's going to be some mosquito irritation and there's the pond will make it a lot cleaner, won't have the algae buildup.
Right.
I'm a developer and I put fountains in my wet ponds.
Is there a requirement, Travis, for the depth that you have to, in order to get a 20-foot spray or whatever? Is there?
I'm sure there is, I don't really know
Okay.
off the top of my head, but just with this being a wet pond, having that much acreage flow to it, I think that there'll be enough volume in the pond itself.
Is there anything you can add treatment wise instead of a fountain per se that would be, I know those tabs that do the mosquito
Chemicals,
larvae kind of thing, and, I mean, if they have to inspect it and maintain it, is there something,
We inspect it yearly anyways.
so it's kind of, I agree with Ed, but I also, it's that double-edged sword kind of thing of what,
So who maintains, actually maintains that? Suppose you don't put a pond over there for the fountain, then they have to maintain the pond by putting chemicals and everything to make sure.
If you have an algae buildup, yes.
Right. So they have to maintain it anyway.
All right, is everybody in favor of keeping that condition?
I am.
About the
Okay.
The water
Yep.
fountain.
And this is a recommended condition, so the council can change their mind and the applicant would have to agree to the conditions when we get to that point.
Should we send to the council a brief summary of what we're?
Yep.
what we're-
We'll include the minutes.
So if you'll do that,
That's fine. I
are
mean,
you okay with that?
I'm
Nick?
fine with
Absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Jim?
it's more the purpose of what we're trying to prevent is the
Okay.
issue.
We should raise a concern, that's what you're thinking, that's the idea behind the fountain.
Mhm.
And then it's like,
Okay. Steve?
Mm-hmm.
May I have a vote? And we'll send it forward with the conditions to
All in-
town council.
All in favor?
All in favor? And all of us are.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lisa, if you don't need us anymore, we'll drop off.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Next on the new business 7 Charlie is Providence Road corridor study. And Lisa did present this to town council at the house site. I was unable to attend it, so it's new to me. Me too. But I think we on the planning board, I think we're going to be tasked to do this. We need to be looking 5 to 10 years ahead of time. I have a military background. I call it a threat analysis, but it's known also as a 5-year plan. And it's a rolling thing, but we started part of that with Councilman Perryman leading the charge on things that are just physically around Weddington and some of the donut holes we have in the town of Weddington. We have this huge thing that's going to get bigger in our town, and I think it's imperative that we as a town, with our citizens' understanding and approval, have some type of idea of what's going to happen in this area so that we have control over it, we've got it set aside, and we don't wind up with an unknown thing and wonder why we didn't think of planning for this in the beginning. So it's kind of a new thing for us on the planning board. We finished the UDO. That was kind of a step in the direction. And now I think it's imperative. Personally, I'm very much in favor of doing the study, having the townspeople involved and understanding and knowledgeable about it, put those into the UDO, the requirements, etc., and then we go forward. So I'm opening the floor to you, Ms. Lisa.
All right, so there's several pieces that are for sale. There's a historic house in front of Stratford at Providence. There's Mr. Matthews' house that is actually designated historic. I had a call from a broker about doing like an architectural office. And that was like a way to be able to keep and preserve the house, but allow for a different land use rather than residential. And to me, like having, you know, a single or double, however we, you know, word it, office use is better than 4 single-family homes on that property. So that got me thinking, along with the Roots Farm development, is this whole corridor is land use plan, is designated in the land use plan as residential. The only uses we allow, our uses are very limited, which is residential subdivisions and churches. And with property going for $400,000 an acre at a major subdivision or at a major intersection, that's all we're going to get. That's the only people that can afford Providence Road prices. And I think we would all hate to see, you know, just more traditional residential subdivisions along this corridor. So I kind of made this map starting from Newtown Road at Providence. This is the new Publix in Marvin, Newtown Market or Center, it's Union County. This portion is owned by Roots Farm, but it's in the county's land use plan as mixed use. So it could be apartments, it could be townhomes, it could be commercial. Who knows? Do we need to buffer ourselves? You know, what's the best transition into the Roots Farm plan on our side, which is all of this. And then we have that really cool like view shed coming into town with the Swimmers property on the right, Roots Farm on the left. How do we keep that like historic agrarian view shed? Can we write something in our land use plan that talks about agribusiness, agritourism? How do we promote these types of uses versus Mr. Swimmer selling off his land and that becoming another residential subdivision? What do we want along the frontage along Providence Road there? Union Power owns this site in purple and needs a power station at some point, and they are thinking they only need the back half of this. So do we need to transition that use? And then we got the big corner of Ray and Providence. We got the historic home here. We got church. We've got the 4 corners of our downtown area. Nancy Anderson's farm, which is a huge asset with the 3 farms right along Providence. We're kind of blessed to have these 3 farms. And what can we do to help her? Is it like seasonal sales? And then all the way up to this is owned by like Duke Power. It's floodplain. I don't see that being developed, but this was residential. This was Hemby Place. We have this property. We have Dow's property. Is that, you know, age restricted? Do we like what kind of transitional uses? What kind of uses do we allow on the commercial, on the 4 corners? Like really digging into what we don't want. And I'm not saying commercial outside of the town center, but let's promote agribusiness. Let's promote agritourism. Let's promote maybe an office use to save the historic homes. What would we allow, and how can we write our land use plan so when a rezoning, a conditional zoning does come in, we can say if it meets the intent of our land use plan or not. So all of that's a public process to readopt a land use plan. So I'm thinking of a whole like Providence Road corridor study. So I brought that up to council. They kind of came up with a game plan, provide a list of uses we don't want along the corridor, take an inventory of all the properties, including the zoning and existing uses, list properties with historic potential, kind of create the corridor map boundaries, consider maybe a short survey to the residents, open questions about land use, and then draft an update to the land use plan that when we get those conditional zoning plans, I can tell brokers and real estate people like what our vision is along that corridor. So we actually have a document. What I'm scared of is kind of the ad hoc things that are going on at like Newtown and Providence in front of this Chatsworth subdivision. There's a
Yeah.
tiny little parcel, like right here, that's not a part of the subdivision. There's a daycare going in, and it is 5 feet off the right of way. It is right in front of your face. And then you have the residential subdivision, and then you have the sign place, and then you have the church, and it's just, it doesn't flow. So when you enter into Weddington, I want it to be unique, and how do we get that? So that's our I think next project over the next, say, three months, to kind of gather the information and then start writing a little bit of change about changes in our land use plan to start getting out to the public and educating them of this could be another tear down the trees residential subdivision. Is that what we want for Providence Road Corridor, or what type of uses do we want, and where? And
We also have some guidance from the last survey too, that was, we got
We
some
do.
very good feedback on that.
we do. I just feel like we're doing ourselves a disservice to have that whole land use plan as residential. And I'm not saying commercial outside of the downtown, but what?
And I think
Oh.
actually that could apply to all the other major thoroughfares in Weddington, not just Providence Road, start at Providence Road. But I think the biggest issue, especially with the changing of residents in Weddington and that survey from not too long ago,
Yeah.
everything that a lot of the people want, it just depends on how it's perceived. And I think everybody wants certain things, but then when it comes up front and center, I don't know if it's that they just don't know. But I think if there was an actual plan that says, this is the corridor, this is what we're going to do. But it's something that's it's gonna, you know, Weddington's growing. It's gonna continue to grow. Do we want to be a land of rooftops and subdivisions? I mean, is that what we want?
This is very analogous to the RCD,
Mm-hmm.
when that came in about 25 years ago. It was a big fist fight, but we did not do anything with the survey, really. And the survey told us that we had the chance to get ahead of some stuff. And I personally think the town should be run like a business. Business has 5-year plans. There are a lot of threats to Weddington from around outside. I mean, those of us that go up to the Brace to work out, to run by this 300 apartment, beautiful complex that's about to be built there. And we know what that's going to do to our roads. So we can't do very much about our roads. We can't do very much about our schools, but we can do a whole lot about what the town really looks like. I think town council needs to direct us to do exactly what you said to do.
So they're good, and we got their blessing to kind of move forward. I want this to be, I don't know if it's a planning board, is it a work group, do I send out between now and the next meeting, like some of these questions, and do you respond and I can put it together, or how do you guys want to kind of start the?
While it's at this stage and everybody's going, well, what if we did this or what if we did that? What about if there is some part, if it's easy to do, on doing all this as an overlay district, so that at least there's some sort of cohesive long-term stretch of 6 miles or whatever it is. It's not that, it's half that probably. But just that it's a sensitive area. All the intersections are sensitive because, as was shown by the one member, they were going to come in here for the southeast corner of, what is that, 12 Mile and Weddington Road. But that's not ours, that's Union County.
Right.
And so we need to take care of ours. And then that would also add weight against things like the southeast corner of 12 Mile and Newtown. But what you're saying makes perfectly good sense, that we at least look at it while it's still a whole. Once it gets a mosaic, we're toast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree. We're trying to get away from writing more ordinances and putting everything in a box where we're going towards conditional zoning. So I would like to at least start with the land use plan and have the general description. And then you guys can say when you get that conditional zoning, that site specific, if it matches with the land use plan. If we have to, I mean, if we're not getting what we want, we can put it into ordinance. I mean, that's the teeth of it, but I'm trying to get away from writing ordinances for every specific use. And this is so unique with all these varying properties. Like I can see an agriculture, agribusiness going to more of the commercial corridor, going to.
Yeah. Lisa, I should know, but I don't, our boundary by where the sign place is, coming up from Marvin, if you're inbound on Providence on the right-hand side,
Yep.
you're widening there, you've got the sign place, and then you've got the daycare. And then does it become Weddington?
It's the Weddington Meadows subdivision, right before you get to Ennis. This is Weddington.
Okay, yeah, which is all pretty much built out now, right? Victoria Park is.
Victoria's Union County right here.
Okay, so Victoria, okay.
This is
I got you.
Weddington
I see.
Meadows, and then Ennis, I think comes out right here is Ennis.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's really critical, because today I was coming, like, okay, the new off-ramp is being built as we speak on Weddington Road. And when you come around the bend after the next to the traffic circle in Stallings at Chestnut with the new apartment complex, and then you've got the 7-Eleven or whatever you want to call it, and the storage units, that's all Stallings. And then you're around the bend, and then you're in Weddington, and you know you're in Weddington. It would be nice to have all of our entrance points. Okay, we're in Weddington. Just by looking around, you can tell you're in Weddington. There's view sheds. There's not just too many of rooftops.
Yeah.
So that's,
off of the street.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the many advantages of Roots Farm. And then when Swimmers gets moved along, that would be a great complement.
Yes.
To what we hope will be.
Yep. A whole hood, agribusiness,
well, and even the older homes
agritourism.
that are on Providence.
Yep, saving those and and it's not adding, car trips. It's probably less car trips with an office versus, the 10 trips a day a home provides, or 4 homes that could fit in there.
Right.
So it's looking at all those little nuances.
Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty valuable
And then
exercise.
telling the public why,
Yeah.
Why we have to do it. We have to
40
get it
trips a
right.
day versus 6 that would visit that office.
Even the aesthetics of it. One of the arguments, and I'll get over myself in here in a second, but one of the best things about Roots Farm was all the comments that you heard of the fall of 2019, I think it was, when all the sunflowers were there. Oh my goodness, you see, come on, all that
It's the
wasn't
tourism,
sunflowers,
yep.
but it raised people's awareness of having not on rooftops.
Yeah.
So-
Good point. Good point.
So-
Even though I got all the complaints about people parking on Providence Road,
Yeah.
idiots.
That is a double-edged sword.
Go to next door, yeah. Put your beef on next door, see who loves you.
Yeah, so Lisa, is the vision you have that as an outcome of this process, there be some kind of either overlay district or a new land use category that would be developed?
Yep.
And the goal then is to brainstorm within planning group here and yourself to come up with ideas as to, all right, what would this look like and what could be included in this land use or this overlay.
Right.
Could we do it like a big PIM on something like that? Like, this is what we're thinking, folks. So if you want to say it, come on and say it, and discuss it here and not on next door, which is just loud voices.
Right. Absolutely. And we should, any update to any land use plan that needs as much public input as possible. So
Absolutely.
when we do, because we're reviewing all of our rezonings and we are making sure it meets that land use plan. So
I think we're trying to sell the future of Weddington, and I think we need to frame it in that.
Right.
Because if we don't, we know exactly what it's gonna look like. It's gonna look like Falls at Weddington, driving up any church road. I mean, that's.
another
lovely.
subdivision with a big.
Well, and every city across the country has got that, you can go into North Dallas.
There's nothing
or West
unique
Warwick.
about Weddington, right now.
Yeah.
So the parcel that butts up against Providence Road and Ray Road, that corner, that's.
The northwest corner?
Yeah,
That's
a,
80 acres.
I was just gonna say, that's a big chunk of land.
Yes, it is.
That's
And,
one of the biggest chunks of dirt. in
and obviously that currently is is it R40 or?
It's residential, yes.
So
RCD.
that to me is closest to town center. That, you know, how do you break up 88 acres and have it be not just a bunch of residential homes? And then you don't want to, you know, we would never allow, you know, Kohl's or, you know, what they have on Tom Short, but that to me that's the big chunk of property too. That is front and center.
And maybe if we do something about critical intersections and inventory every intersection in the town that's not already developed. And then that we create options so that we're more proactive on what we can do and what we want instead of just like, no, you know, like we did with Roots Farm. That was just a bunch of no's. But we want stuff. Let's do it. Let's be proactive.
We need to know what we want.
And provide options for the developers.
Right.
You included, Travis. I'm in real estate. I love development. Come on, let's go.
Let's build stuff.
And they're asking like, what does Weddington want? I'm like, I thought I told you that.
I love this whole concept and idea. I think that's Lisa did a great job putting it together. I don't want to sell ourselves short and not, like to everybody's point, just look at Providence. I think that the 84 and the Ray Road extension.
Sure. Yeah.
That's one, that'll, Ray Road will impact Providence and we need to.
Oh yeah, the off ramp at Weddington is gonna, a lot of people are gonna go up Weddington Matthews Road. And so when we see these left turn lanes and right turn lanes in the neighborhoods off of the major arterials, you know, but I still want to have it so that when people come to Weddington 30 years from now, we're in Weddington. You just know you're in Weddington.
Well, that and I guess the more urgent thing is how do you get sewer to the commercial track, or you know, with Union County Public Works not having an answer right now.
Right.
Does Highclere have sewer?
I think we could, to answer your question, I think
They're in
that
the 6 mile.
2050 survey was a bit of a help, and I think we could drive
It goes up to
Helms and
Charlotte.
company up there to get Union County concentrate on doing something correctly here, and then moving it to the east side of Union County. But I think if we take the lead on this, then Marvin will join. Waxahaw's already destroyed itself, in my humble opinion. But Wesley Chapel will probably join us too. Stallings is kind of, they've tried to push everything over on Weddington from Stallings. So I think if we get ahead of it, and I think we have time now. And I think Roots Farm was a great wake-up call. I've been pounding on Lisa about this 5-year plan for about 5 years now.
Well, and it goes with that Western Alliance too.
Right.
That they can jump on that.
Right.
So.
And I was at a meeting the other day and they had Ed Driggs from area San Luis and Charlotte, and then Tara from Sales.
Bakari.
Yeah, and everybody was talking Providence Road, and more Providence Road just as much as anybody else. So if we can begin, you know.
Yeah, if we can grab it now and keep it what we want there, then we don't have.
Well, I was just thinking, Nancy owns the old Price House. That's right on the other side
I
of.
heard that,
Yeah. So, I mean, she's kind of like me, all over the place. But I mean, there's been a lot of talk of thinking that that's sort of where the commercial side of Weddington starts, whether it's a coffee shop or a farm-to-table restaurant or whatever. And then obviously the gymnastics place and all that land that goes back that way. But I think we need to.
If we can keep that house.
Right.
To do a coffee shop.
Right.
I mean, I think
Well,
the residents.
I will tell you that house, she's put a ton of money into that house, that it is in good shape. As far as the foundation and the roof, it's got no walls on the inside, but that's a house that it can sit there and we can come up with a plan and figure out what to do. And
I think Nancy Anderson is also a valuable resource that we should. include.
She's a Delaney. She's one of the heritage families.
Yeah, she's heritage too.
Yeah.
So, you know, your heritage too, I think, or
So not too many,
So
not as many generations
this
as
is,
Nancy.
Highgate,
It's been a while.
and she owns.
I think we all even the
all
ones
these
that are,
parcels
I'm only
here.
14
So it
years
sits-
here.
It's that yellow house that
14.
kind of sits back.
We all want to
It's a
keep what
Victorian.
we have. We came here for that very reason. We wanted to be in Weddington. My youngest he's 54 now, so schools are not a big deal for us.
Mhm.
Any more discussion on this?
So I guess then the next plan is, do we want to do some form of a throw out ideas and send them to Lisa, or do a roundtable kind of thing, or, and then maybe start with Providence Road, but, think about all the other major intersections? I mean, it's kind of a big undertaking if we can
Oh,
get
it
it.
is, but it's
kind of-
worthwhile.
Right, but that's the thing is like, Walt said, once you start it, then everybody else might get on board too, and the other towns. And the donut hole thing is not, gonna be resolved overnight. So I
No,
feel
it's
like we
not.
need to have a plan out in front of the residents,
Yes,
so they know.
and they have to participate in it, and I think we can
Right.
make that happen too.
Yeah.
Now, the answer to your first question, I think, would everybody be able to send Lisa a bunch of ideas in about 2 weeks?
Sure.
It would be
I'll get the inventory done
good.
within a week or two. I'll send that out. Existing land uses, any, what'd you call it, threats, the more threats analysis,
Mhm. Yeah.
like, here, this is gonna be a power station, like, we need to
Mhm.
buffer it, this is gonna be.
Right.
Exactly.
And then you guys can, what you don't want, and maybe kind of start
Right.
thinking what you do, like what's,
We need to have some transition options when we do have a power, how do we transition from that to
Yep.
and
Not
they're
gonna
all over
put-
town, really.
yeah, I'm not gonna put 5 homes in front of that power station.
Is that, how much land is that power station gonna be on?
This-
How much acreage? You
What does
know?
that look like, 8?
Well,
I mean,
that's
it's a-
80, that's probably right.
it's
about
a
25.
10,
25.
20?
I was gonna say, so that corner house or corner land that has the pond in front of it, yeah, I think, I
That kind
forget
of
their
blocks
last
the
name, but that, I see no movement in that house for a while, so I'm wondering if something's gonna eventually come up with that being for
Yep.
sale.
It is for sale.
That's
It's
why, is
in
it?
Southwest corner, yeah.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it?
there's-
Oh, I haven't seen it.
I think, and it's not that expensive, I mean.
It's relative term.
For Providence and Ray.
But I mean, it makes me wonder though, how you do shelter, that corner from a 10-acre power station. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's,
Well, there are going to be things that we're going to lose in this one. The objective is to gain most of them, win most of them.
So we'll do the inventory once and non-once, and then we will split up like Providence right into sections, and we
Yeah.
can all kind of take a section we're interested in
Yep.
and
Yeah, sure.
start
So we do that.
studying it in detail. Okay.
So only one question I had, again, rookie question. So does town has options to say that I don't want any agricultural land on this road, on this side? Even though there's already agricultural land, we said we don't want any agriculture. Do we have option to rezone?
Can we rezone
I'm just saying. thinking
a
out-
property? Yes.
We can, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
We
They
can.
did it when they did the RCD. 'Cause they were
Anything over
originally
6 acres, we made,
R80s, weren't they?
Yep.
R80.
We want- anything above 6 acres, we changed from R40 to RCD.
I see this, okay,
Yeah, so we could zone it, you're right.
we can, okay.
I think
Good question.
this is all public record stuff, so that's all fine and all good, and I've talked to Lisa about this before, but the whole 1-to-1, I'm still good with the 1-to-1, but it doesn't have to be that you can't go below half acre to half acre. Why can't we go, and the only thing we really need to do is change our setbacks and our lot dimensions, whatever they want to make them, so that we can have clusters of houses, which then gives us a whole lot more for the corner of southwest of Ray, and you could put in some homes, nice homes, because the dirt's worth the dirt. That's not going to change. So you're not going to have just junk put in there. It'll have to, and with that pond, there's a lot you can do with that.
Which ones would be okay with clustering tighter, and
Yeah, because then
Smaller
we get
lots.
more open space.
that'll
So
be
it's
the
not gonna-
transition to the large lots from the
Exactly.
commercial, that's, yeah.
well, we've always said we need some form of multifamily, if that's your term, but
I don't
more
like.
of cluster housing. I mean, well,
Yeah,
depends on who you ask.
I know, yeah, this is what it is.
But
So,
we need something, we need
Yeah.
another alternative other than a 4,500 square foot house.
There has to be,
There has to be
90
something.
foot or what, you know,
Or-
why not?
Right,
You know, there's a lot of.
I agree.
But it sounds like what we're trying to do in this discussion is create the framework that says we would allow this if it achieves this goal for us. So we will consider, and then how do you put that into a zoning structure or overlay or a rezone that says these kinds of things will be allowed if you move towards this end goal that the town is trying to.
So then it's not a shock and awe, let's light our hair on fire.
I think that we have 8 or 9 people in this room that are not shy, so I don't expect us to get, I expect a little arm wrestling, and I think that is very important.
Well, then we make a bulletproof, because all of our opinions are worth, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here.
Exactly. So I'm looking very much forward to that. Does anybody have any more discussion on this? Okay.
I know what that story is. The end story.
So let's finish up the update and any comments we will adjourn and then go to our historic and our.
The only comment I have is our UDO, you guys recommended approval at your last meeting. Council had their work session today to go through that in detail. They're going to be holding their public hearing. It is online for anybody who wants to go and read it and comment. We have it on there and available.
When is that?
The second Monday of April.
Oh, okay, so it's from the public hearing.
It's the public hearing, and we expect to vote that night unless someone comes out and asks a bunch of questions. And that's all I have. You heard a little bit about the capacity issues with Union County Public Works. They're at 95% capacity, so they are stopping all new development approvals. We worked with Ed to help us with a report and how we can make sure some of our basins are getting built on the proper utility that we need it to be built on. So we're looking, he's going to give us a report at our next special meeting so we can hear some ideas of how we get sewer going again. And I'll report back to you all once we know more. And that's about it.
Jen, do you have any?
Just want to welcome Manoush and, did I say right? Manoush and Travis.
Close enough.
Welcome to the crazy train. That's it.
Good.
Nothing else other than welcome also.
Welcome.
Jim?
Sorry, no, this one. Because Steve hit it.
Go ahead.
No, I just did it. I did. I stepped in, I apologize.
Okay, I'm welcome aboard and looking forward to working with you. You stepped in at a really good time. Using those are over, and now we're going to do something fun for a while. And I think we'll adjourn here at 9 this afternoon. Okay, next is Jen.
Is it really me?
I believe so. You're
Oh, because Tammy's not here?
That's the one.
Darn.
You want the gavel? You want
No,
the
gosh,
gavel,
no.
man? That's when you gotta get it.
You gotta hit it.
Yeah, we never had a historical meeting.
We didn't all last year.
All last year.
Then you have an unbelievable.
I do have an unblemished record. Isn't that funny? So the minutes are from,
Call it to order.
oh, sorry. So I'll call to order this Historic Preservation Commission. We have it for, is this the minutes from the
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
because we
last
only met-
time?
is
Oh
that-
my gosh, okay. So if everybody can look through the minutes from 2020 on February 24th.
So if you look at the packet, I printed it funny. So if you have your agenda, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go through and elect the chairman and vice chairman first.
Okay.
And then on the back of the agenda is the schedule for 2021.
Got it.
And then the minutes. So
Okay,
that's the
I'm
last
sorry.
order of business.
Okay, so we have an election of the chairman and vice chairman.
I nominate Jim.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Nomination for vice chairman.
I second.
All those in favor?
You're on board with it.
That's what they did to me.
Just keep going.
Exactly what they
It's an
did.
And
easy
as a
one.
result, we didn't have a meeting.
If we didn't have a meeting, no one knew. Okay, on the back is the calendar scheduled for the remaining of this year. Go ahead and have approval.
I'll move to accept the calendar for.
I second the motion.
Now so it's supposed to be quarterly meetings, and so the quarterly meeting, this is postponed from January. So the quarterly meeting is actually supposed to be next month, which may be a good opportunity to start talking about things for the.
Well, and that, yeah, so we'll have it, so the next historical meeting is the 26th, so we'll have a chance to go through.
And one thing we can put on that agenda is the historic sites,
Yeah.
Nancy's, and
So-
maybe there's some tax incentives or grants through the historic.
Jen and I were also talking
Yeah.
earlier, and I think you're going to introduce the idea of asking council for
So,
$1,500 or something.
well, so I guess we have no old business. We can just move on to new business. And,
For the approved minutes.
did we have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Motion to approve?
Make the motion.
Second.
Thank you.
Ed and Walt,
You like my right hand? Yeah.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Come on.
There is, I know, it wasn't prepared. So there's no old business. As far as new business, so Walt and I we were kind of talking. So obviously it kind of goes in with what we were saying about the Providence Road corridor, trying to see what historical homes are left, which ones can be saved. There isn't a whole lot of money in the budget for historical preservation. I propose we ask town council for minimum would be 3, max would be 5,000 to at least put in some form of a fund. And also, I'm thinking about if we did some form of a historical and beautification committee, which we had talked about a while ago. For example, for me, it would be this traffic circle and just looking at the grass. And we're obviously going to get another traffic circle at Tilly Morris eventually, is to do something of, if anybody's seen what they did the roundabout off of Newtown Road when you go into Marvin. They actually have it nicely landscaped. Doesn't look like too many trucks have gone up and around. And I know at one point in time that was the concern, is that you're going to go and do really nice landscaping and then the trucks go around the roundabout and they destroy it all. So I'm just wondering if maybe we need to think about combining a beautification committee with the historical committee, going to town council and asking for a bit of a funding, and see what we can start with that. Anybody have thoughts on?
So I'm much in favor of beautification. I hadn't thought about, but I'm much in favor of having some money to do something for the historic preservation of the town. I know that there's a lot of assets read on Antioch Church, Nancy over here. I mean, there are people around Jim's Probst that actually have some history stuff to it. We need to collect that and go forward. We might ask the Boy Scout troop if they've got an Eagle Scout that needs a project he might be able to do, or she. I don't know if there's any women ready for an Eagle, but they might be able to help do some of that research. So those are my ideas about this thing.
Well, and I also know the high school has a horticultural society.
Okay.
They sell plants and they have a club. They might be where we can go and see if they would be the ones to do plantings if we did the roundabouts.
Yeah.
And, you know, my other thing would be as far as preserving the history, and I know Jeff Perryman did the write-up that's on the website and everybody's kind of seen it. Maybe go back and revisit that and update that. I guess I think it's more of getting the historical reference out to the masses. I think so many people are moving in here so quickly, they really don't know a whole lot about
Right.
Bennington.
It's another subject.
And I've been here 8 years, and just being involved is, you learn as you go. Some people don't want to know, other people only know what they hear. So I think if we did some kind of, I know they did the newsletter. I don't know if there's some form of maybe doing some on the background of this historical side. I know the Monroe Library has a lot about the town. So I guess that's where I'll,
Sandy Ridge, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So
Mhm.
do we allow anybody inside those houses? We do not.
They're privately owned. So like Hemby is owned by the Methodist Church. This house, of course. The only other house that I know that is somewhat, you can go in and not, you know, hurt yourself would be the one that's, is that the Matthew, what house is that?
Daryl
dignified
Matthews'
at?
house, Matthews family house.
So
And
that's,
it's under contract.
that's
Is it
Daryl.
really?
I saw a sign.
Wait, not Daryl's, not Daryl's. The other
Oh.
You're
one,
talking about the one in front of Stratford.
Oh,
That one actually is, I heard.
yes.
okay.
But that's the one you were talking
Doctor-
about for the architect. Is that correct, Lisa?
Yes, it's a doctor and another,
Is that who purchased, who's under contract with them?
I heard that.
Okay. Do you know the name of that house?
I don't.
I think Janice may know, I'm looking for that one.
But our goal is not to put these historical places into public ownership. But to
Correct.
create a framework that
Correct.
encourages and promotes property owners to maintain that historical
Mhm.
Correct.
perspective and appearance and complementary.
And maybe, and you know, if you go into any old, established, you know, town that has homes that date back to the 70s.